Hello students. Today I will be discussing about victim psychology, which is in module 4 of your disaster management audit course. Disaster situations, that is cyclones, earthquakes, flash flood, severe drought, landslides, fire, chemical and nuclear mishaps, and other major industrial disasters have two dimensions. One is a physical dimension and other is a psychological dimension. Thus, in such situation, not only physical infrastructure like railroads, telecommunication lines, schools, marketplaces, places of worship, those get damaged and devastated. But also devastated and ravaged is psychological fabric and well-being of individuals and community. The psychological ravage may vary from what is called disaster syndrome, that is a state of being stunned, dazed and apathetic, to severe psychotic disorders. It may in some cases result in self-destruction by individual in form of suicide. All this entails that psychological support must be an integral part of planning, relief, rescue and rehabilitation efforts in disaster situations. Though the immediate effect of such psychological emotions and stress are not visible as physical destruction, yet overcoming such psychological scare may take as much time and resource of the community and family as the physical rehabilitation. Normal psychological reaction in disaster. People, emotions and feelings in disaster situation may be categorized into two broad categories. First is ordinary cognitive emotional behavior and somatic reaction in extraordinary situations, which are slightly deviate from the normal pattern of such reactions, that is called normal reactions, and psychological distress reaction which overwhelm the coping capability of individual and community and which may affect psychological well-being of people. The common cognitive reaction in disaster situation, which include dreams and nightmares about the disaster, continuous reconstruction of disaster situation in mind, inability in concentrating and remembering things, questioning one's faith and religious beliefs, flooding of thought or memories with disaster episode, etc. This disaster situation also put resource and data limitation on human thought process. It is well established fact that human performance is optimal under moderate level of anxiety. Disasters create high level of anxiety and stress, rendering non-optimal condition for utilization of resource of mind. She is called resource limitation of functions. The normal emotional reactions in disaster situation may include feeling numb, withdrawn or disoriented or experience is uneasiness. The normal emotional reactions also includes feeling of lack of enthusiasm and commitment, feeling of depression, feeling of sudden anger without a warrant or on-site provocation, intense irritability or feeling of sense of emptiness, helplessness about the future. Common behavioral response in disaster condition may include being overprotective of self and one's family, isolating oneself from others, or seeking company of others to overcome the anxiety, showing alarm and startling response in ordinary conditions, problems in getting sleep or startling asleep, indulging in non-meaningful overactivity to avoid thoughts related with disaster conditions. Normal schematic reactions may also include insomnia, stomach aches, headaches, increased muscular tensions, increased heartbeat, and fluctuating body temperature. All this may worsen as sizes accumulate, even culminating in acute illness. One significant finding emerging from studies of disaster is that very few, if any, victims are left untouched by the experience either at the time of the event or later. The psychological consequences may persist for months, years, or even the duration of victim's life. It is clear that one cannot predict from a person's usual level and style of functioning how he will respond to a disaster. In fact, emergency clinicians should be aware of the fact that psychiatric patients do not necessarily have more difficulty than other people coping with disaster. One other crucial finding of disaster research is that although individual responses to disaster vary widely, they nonetheless conform to the consistent pattern over time. Next is psychological distress reactions in disaster. These common intellectual, emotional, behavioral, and somatic reactions are modulated by coping capabilities of the individual, which in turn are a complex mechanism conditioned primarily by the experience of one's developmental process. Usually, the developmental experience, which nurtures strong belief and philosophical orientation to life, may help people cope better in disaster conditions. A large number of people over the time, with a little help of family and friends, do overcome these reactions. But some people are not able to cope with the disaster situations, and they show symptoms of various psychological distress, ranging from mild neurotic reactions to severely incapacitating psychotic reasons. The major neurotic symptoms which can be noticed in a disaster condition in a community are mainly anxiety neurosis. Anxiety is felt in so many situations that is appears to be free floating and diffuse without any specific cause. Even often disaster might have been a long past. The second type of neurotic symptom is phobic neurosis. This is extreme and irrational fear and avoidance of an object or situation which might have happened to related to a disaster. For example, people ran away from the vicinity of Kandla port in 1999 when they heard that a cyclonic depression is forming over Arabian Sea because their tragic experience with earlier cyclone shows this phobic neurosis. The third type is obsessive neurosis. There is flooding of mind with persistent and uncomfortable thoughts. For example, people in earthquake hit area often report that they have feeling of earth shaking again. So that is obsessive neurosis. The fourth type is depressive neurosis. This is abnormally prolonged dejection associated with inner conflict or personal loss. This psychosomatic disorder or reaction that represent a visceral expression of affect which may be long prevented from by consciousness. These disorders may include common cold, rhinitis. Rhinitis is congestion of the nasal mucous membrane and blood vessel of the eyes, and bronchial asthma, cardiovascular disorders, peptic ulcer, and loss of appetite. Those Those are psychosomatic disorder. Disaster situations are characterized by scarcity of resources of day-to-day use. Such scarcity may result psychopathic behavior. That is, for example, abduction of responsibility, heartlessness, insincerity, incapacity for love and attachment, lack of empathy. These are the example of psychopathic behavior. This shows even in normal person. Such behavior has to be stopped by intervention of significant groups, that is police, NGOs, psychologists, family and friends, because conditioning of such behavior has a high cost for community. In extreme cases, a significant portion of people residing in disaster affected area may even show psychotic disorders. For example, schizophrenia. That is a disorder marked by delusions, hallucinations, expression of extreme, inappropriate emotional response and disturbed behavior, which may include regression and withdrawal. And manic depression. Manic depression is retardation of thought, pervading feeling of sadness, sleep disturbance, retarded motor actions or abnormal elation of mind, hyperactivity. Those are manic depression. And even in some cases, suicide may also be committed by people to get out of their meaningless existence or cumbersome life. Next is psychological support. In this figure, you can see this graph which explains reactions to disaster situation and kind of psychological support which may be provided in a disaster situation. In this figure, you can see for a normal reaction, support from a family and friends might be sufficient to come out of a normal reactions to disaster situation, to day-to-day normal way of thought and action. Similarly, mild form of neurotic behavior and psychopathic reactions may be tackled by the level of family, friends, NGOs and social support group or psychologist. Psychological distress resulting in psychosomatic or psychotic reaction would require a professional treatment either by general physician or by psychologist or psychiatrist. This condition may even require hospitalization of persons affected by such psychological distress. Next is psychophysiological reaction to stress. So another essential dimension of psychological support in disaster situation is need for psychological help to rescue and relief workers. And it would not be out of place to discuss the psychophysiological dimension involved in stress in some detail of that. People in stress situation show General Adaptation Syndrome, GAS, which consists of 3 stages: stage of alarm, stage of resistance, and stage of exhaustion. Alarm reaction is essentially a biological defense mechanism. It has 2 phases. First, an initial phase of disorganized shock, and second is an organism counters the shock by attempting to restore the homeostatic balance, primarily by release of hormone adrenaline. In the stage of resistance, the person continued attempt to restore psychological balance is generally successful and an adequate adaptation to stress situation does happen. In the next stage, in exhaustion stage, the person is not able to maintain the homeostatic balance due to addition of certain new stress or person coping capability, giving way because of lack of psychological support. The person in such situation ends up fighting stress, or he is not able to retain homeostatic balance. The person may in such cases surrender to illness, physical as well as psychological, or in some cases death may also result. This general reaction to stress clearly shows how critical is psychological support for people in disaster situation. Such psychological support in disaster situation help people in adaptation to stress, thereby arresting their reaction to stage 2, that is resistant stage of GAS. Such support also help in restoration of homeostatic balance of the person. To conclude, we may say that disasters are characterized by asymmetry and non-linearity. In such situation, physical as well as psychological support system of the community is certainly uprooted. The psychological well-being of the individual in such abnormal situation is the product of individual's coping capabilities and psychological support provided by the significant ones. Next is the human response biopsychosocial model. It is important for everyone working with adults who have been through a disaster to understand how the whole individual is being affected. This means that a disaster does not affect only a person's mind and emotion but also other aspects of their health and functioning. The human response to disaster occurs simultaneously on 3 different but related dimensions: biological, psychological and social. These 3 dimensions comprise what is called biopsychosocial model. These 3 aspects of human functioning can be compared to the 3 legs of a stool. Next we will see the phases of disaster in emotional point of view. Emotional reactions to disasters have predictable patterns according to some researchers. Starting from left to right of this graph to illustrate the general progression of the disaster effect and reactions on communities. The 6 stages of this graph is representing emotional highs and lows. Those are pre-disaster, impact, heroic, honeymoon, disillusionment and reconstruction. In this pre-disaster phase, which means the amount of warning a community receives, which varies by the type of disaster. Perceived threat varies depending on many factors. Next phase is impact phase. The greater the scope, the community destruction and personal losses associated with the disaster comes in this impact phase. So the greater the psychosocial effect. Next phase is heroic phase. This phase is characterized by high altruism or unselfishness among both survivors and emergency responders. Emergency responders actively begin search and rescue missions, direct assistance to the people, and resources begin arriving. During this phase, people struggle to stay alive. Goal is to prevent loss of lives and to minimize property damage. That's in heroic phase. Next is honeymoon phase. In this phase, here survivors feel a short-lived sense of optimism that may last for 2 weeks to 2 months. after a disaster. These massive relief efforts enhance the morale of survivors, and people are appreciative of that help. Survivors hope things will recover quickly and life will return to normal. Next phase is disillusionment phase. So over the time, the survivors go through an inventory process where they recognize the limit of available disaster assistance. Optimism fades as the realization of what happens begin to settle in, and disappointment, resentment, anger and frustration become evident. This leads into the disillusionment phase where the survivors are coming to grips with reality of their situation. This phase may last from several months to a year or more. Certain trigger events such as anniversary of the disaster can prompt survivors to re-experience negative emotions related to the disaster. Next phase is reconstruction phase. Gradually, the emergency responders leave. The people start to assimilate the shock of what has happened and begin to reconcile themselves to the new reality. Survivors experience setbacks and work through their grief, eventually readjusting to their new surroundings and situations. People realize that they must do for themselves, and grief and anger is gradually replaced by the acceptance. No miracles happened. Those left in place who has to solve problems and rebuild their shattered lives. It is a process that will continue for several years as the new normal functioning is gradually re-established. Next, coping of disasters. Coping can be thought of in various ways. One way is as an ego process that operates to reduce emotional tension. But here we are equating coping with mastery over a stressful situation. Others consider coping as a trait, but people don't respond identically to all stressful life events. Finally, coping can be seen as an interaction between how a person sizes up an event as impacting their decision making. That's all about victim psychology. These are the references. Thank you for listening.